Welcome to the second 100 days of Stardew Valley modded, where almost every week we add a couple more mods. This is a summary of the full-length expanded series I'm doing, so if you want more, have I got good news for you. As a reminder of where we're starting, I had just started a slime farm, built a memorial to my lost lucky ring, and repaired the boat to Ginger Island. The boat to Ginger Island is officially open for business. Before we head out, I upgrade our trash can and pay the 1,000 gold to go to Ginger Island. Already I'm seeing tons of new fish probably added with Stardew Valley expanded in the water. And I adore Leo's winter outfit. I grab some of the easier to find golden walnuts and I get a mummified frog early, pay the parrot to unlock Ginger Island North, and I start working on the walnuts up there. My goal on the first day of going to Ginger Island is always to get enough golden walnuts to unlock the farmhouse. That way I don't have to pay 1,000 gold if I want to come here tomorrow. I can just sleep overnight and clean up anything I missed. It's consistently the busiest day of any playthrough. Also, just something I noticed while walking around, it doesn't seem like Stardew Valley Expanded significantly changed Ginger Island. For the most part, the layout's the exact same. I did end up getting enough walnuts for the farmhouse, so I'm able to start the next day at Ginger Island. I start off the next day picking up a few straggler walnuts I may have forgotten, and I get started fishing. We grab the usual suspects like lionfish and blue discus, but then there's a couple of expanded fish like the clownfish and seahorses. I was able to fish up a couple of golden walnuts as well. Back in Stardew Valley, I can see that my slimes have started hatching for the slime farm. I did manage to find a tiger slime egg, so I get that incubating too. We have quite a few new fish, both from the night market and from Ginger Island, so I gather them to be donated to the aquarium. And on my way up, I donate a ton of bombs to Marlin because he asked for them in a special order. I'm kinda hoping it unlocks a new crafting recipe, but we'll see. And luckily the aquarium is open late, so I can donate everything we have. At night I hit level 3 archaeology, which is one of the skills I added in mods if you forgot, unlocking a path made of bone fragments. The next day is Marlin's birthday, pretty big deal, we can get him to 10 hearts today. But seeing how the Adventurers Guild doesn't open until 2 PM anyway, I head off to Ginger Island to finally tackle the volcano. There's tons of golden walnuts to be found here, as well as, of course, gaining access to the forge. I ended up getting pretty lucky on the golden walnut end of things. As for the not dying end of things, not as good. The items lost weren't too bad, but I will take this opportunity to go ahead and give Marlin his gift. During which, we see the cutscene for turning in all those bombs to him. Apparently it's an order to be shipped to Castle Village, and for our effort, we get a ledger that allows us to buy a bunch of Adventurers Guild themed decorations. I don't quite have the money for this yet, but I did think it'd be cute to grab a couple of log piles and put it next to our haystack. Finishing up the day, I set up a fence around our coop and barn area. On Saturday, our steel trash can is done, so we get the iridium pans started next. And I give Evelyn her birthday gift, getting her up to 8 hearts. Not done with punishment yet, gotta go back into the volcano, gotta get to the end. Not only did I get a couple more golden walnuts, but I hit level 10 combat, which was the last level 10 I needed to hit in all of the base game skills. Now this is a good time to mention, this is not version 1.6, this was recorded before 1.6 came out. And while we will be updating to it later, this isn't unlocking the Mastery Cave right now. It's simply hitting level 10. Getting to the halfway point, I thought it was worth checking the dwarf shop to see if there's anything new, but nope, it's all vanilla. That said, I do grab the island work totem and ginger ale recipes. I continue working my way up with less issues than before, thankfully. Although, I have noticed, it's really dark, and I think that's part of Stardew Valley Expanded. Normally the volcano is fully lit as if it's like daytime. Not the case here, and it does actually make it quite a bit harder. Irregardless, I do make it to the end, where I find Lance, a new character? Apparently this volcano is actually called Mount Colder. He seems impressed with us and explains how the forge works. Then he mentions something about the first slash and pieces out. Well, I've got some forging to do. I add some power to my sword, which was sorely needed, and enchant it with Haymaker. Yay! While we were in the mines, I managed to get a bunch of golden walnuts, so I unlocked the dig site. Although it's a bit too late for us to do anything there today. Choosing our level 10 combat profession, I have a feeling that we're going to be dealing with some powerful enemies soon, so I go for Defender. Well, with the volcano done, our progress on Ginger Island's gonna slow a little bit. All of the major goals have been achieved, and now it's just cleaning up some of the smaller stuff. I go ahead and clear out the dig site and grab the golden walnuts here, and I release our boys so we can start filling in the fossils. I have quite a few of them already, so we're making good progress. When we get back to the farm, Lewis comes around to tell us there will be community days now. It's one day every month where almost everyone goes to the community center just to hang out. It'll probably be a pretty good gifting opportunity. Start of a new week means a couple more mods. Seeing how Expanded doesn't change Ginger Island too much, I decided to get Ginger Island mainland adjustments, which mostly just changes how NPCs explore the island. For instance, characters that normally wouldn't go, like Willie, George, Evelyn, and Sandy, can now go to Ginger Island, and characters will now explore into Ginger Island North and Ginger Island East as well. On top of that, I got cat gifts where if a cat's at full friendship, it'll now occasionally give you a gift. Leaving my house, I'm immediately met by the wizard. Apparently some high-ranking council member of magicness is interested in my magic power, so the wizard is going to teach me some warp magic. And right after he leaves, Lance appears, saying he'd like to get to know us better, so he gives us a schedule since he moves around all the time so that we can start giving him gifts. Alright, that's a lot to do. First thing first, I visit the wizard. He takes me to this new spot in the backwoods where there's a clearing with a large tree in the middle. We channel our mana into it and suddenly the area gets a lot prettier. So this is going to be what they call my warp nexus. Occasionally we'll unlock warps to new areas that warp back to here, and to get us started, we have a warp going to the wizard's tower. There's also these dewdrop berries that spawn here that have crazy buffs. I spend the rest of the day trying to give out gifts, but I'm absolutely baffled because I can't find a single person. So remember when they told us it was going to be community day? Apparently that was today, and everyone was at the community center, and I had no clue. Whoops. To finish off our day, I need some hardwood, so I plant a bunch of the mahogany seeds we got from Ginger Island and give them some tree fertilizer so they'll grow quicker. Next day starts with us setting up another warp, this time from our farm straight to the Nexus, making it a lot quicker to get there. It's Leah's birthday today and she's been ignored pretty hard so far, but her birthday gift pushes her up to 4 hearts. Then I realize I haven't been back to the Adventurers Guild since I gave Marlin his birthday gift, and we should be getting the sewer key from him, since it's changed from the museum and expanded. And sure enough, he says it's time to meet Krobus. We can finally enter the sewers. Looking through their shop, there is one new item, Void Salmon Sushi, which while it's really expensive to buy the recipe for, it gives crazy buffs in fishing, luck, and defense. An interesting combination. I wonder if it's hinting at anything. For now though, I just grabbed the star drop. It's pretty much all I can afford. Since I've already started the magic ink quest, I can go straight into the mutant bug lair and get the dark talisman. And while it looks mostly the same in here, there is a new fish to catch, the mutant grub, as well as the slime jack as usual. I head on back to the witch's swamp, which looks a bit different now. This is actually a mod I added a while ago, we just haven't been able to get into the witch's swamp until now. This is the Distant Lands mod, which adds a ton of fish, forageables, crops, and Zik as a new character to gift. Zik is the henchman. We do still have to give him a void mayonnaise to get him out of the way, so we fish one up, give it to him, grab the magic ink, and return it to the wizard. Now we have access to all the obelisks and the golden clock, which I have nowhere near enough money to get, so we'll come back here later. The benefit of me making a series out of playing this game is people point out stuff that I didn't see in the comments, and someone pointed out a random warp in the middle of the woods. And sure enough, it leads to some brand new area, but I have nowhere near enough time to explore it today, so I head back to bed. Checking Lance's schedule reveals that it'll actually be in areas I've never heard of almost half of the week. So today, while he's in the valley, I take the opportunity to give him a gift. After that, I'm headed back to Ginger Island to clean up some more of the easy walnuts, including the quiz ones. I make some progress on the bird puzzle since it's a rainy day, and I spend some more time in the volcano. I have quite a few walnuts extra, so I unlock the shortcut on floor 5 before heading back to bed. The 25th of winter means it's the Feast of the Winter Star today. Before heading back, I pluck some taro roots I planted, collecting 2 golden walnuts, and with it being another rainy day, I'm even closer to finishing the bird puzzle. If you didn't know, when you head back to the valley on a town festival day, it drops you right off at the bus stop. At the festival, I check for anything new, but it seems to be largely untouched by any mods, other than the expanded characters attending. My person to gift to was Pam, who we've already gotten to 10 hearts, so I'd settle for a liked blackberry. Personally, I wouldn't let that slide if she were me, but she's just a piece of code obligated to say thank you. Jody was my secret Santa and she got me 10 deluxe speed grow, not too shabby. To end the day, I do what's considered an extra gamer move and craft all of my winter forageables into tea saplings. 1.5 prices, you will be missed. With it almost being the end of the year, it's finally time to set up the inevitable, the keg shed. I clear some space on my farm and get it started. It is Clint's birthday, so I hit him with a gold bar, and then entering the saloon we get an Olivia cutscene. And as a reminder, she is the character we've chosen to date. We catch her sampling some wine like the rich person she is, and we mention that we pretty much eat whatever we forage out in the wild. She's appalled and says anytime we want a proper meal, we can stop by. There were so many people at the saloon that I just spent the rest of the day giving them gifts. I hit level 4 archaeology, unlocking the water shifter. Apparently it just picks up random things in the water. Today is Sophia's birthday, which is a pretty huge deal because I'm looking forward to the rest of her heart events. The gift maxes her out at 8 hearts. Today's the day I decide to give that forest maze a try, but upon entering it again, I get a little cutscene. A pink Junimo pops out to greet me and gives me a scroll, and then I'm led directly to what looks like a Junimo settlement so that I can set up another warp that leads back to the Nexus. So, guess I won't have to navigate the maze after all. Even if that is the case, I do head in to find any secrets there may be hidden throughout it, and I cannot stress how impossible it is to find my way through here. All of the paths are hidden behind foliage, so you constantly have to guess where to go. That is, until I find a plaque that says to follow the mushrooms. They indicate where there's a path. It is getting late though, so I head back to the Nexus so that I can check out the Junimo village. Here, there's a bunch of shops with really good items, just all expensive. There's fertilizers, decorations, forage seeds, artifacts, a gem shop that has prismatic shards, and legendary fish. As it turns out, this is part of my reward for doing the community center instead of Joja. Pretty good. There's also 2 new fish for me to catch, the golden fish and meteor carp. While messing with the Nexus warps that night, I learned that you shouldn't take them while on your horse. This makes me get stuck in the corner here, and all I can do is wait until I pass out. Lesson learned, I guess. It's the final day of the year. I started by doing a classic donate items to the museum trip. Most of the items are from the bone nodes on Ginger Island, which I decide to head back to for the day. I found my first snake vertebrae in a dig spot, good since those can be pretty hard to find, especially in 1.5. I get another walnut from the mussel nodes, and I try to get more of the new fish here. The only one I managed to get was the sea sponge. And just to get a checkup on our walnut progress, at the end of the first year I have 56 walnuts. Not too bad, halfway there. While trying to fish up the spine from the dig site, I'd get another 2 walnuts before finally catching what I came for. Donating to the field station, nothing is completed, but it's progress. And that wraps up year 1. It's spring! Goodbye, earmuffs! One new mod this week, the carry chest mod allows me to move chests even when they're full. A must-have to manage the crazy amount of items added with mods. I head back to Pelican Town and almost immediately I'm met by Lewis showing me this abandoned plot right next to the library. He offers the plot to me and I accept it, but I'm gonna be honest, this is so far out of my way that I really don't see myself coming out here much. Funny enough, since we started at Ginger Island, we end up seeing Kent in town before he formally introduces himself. So yeah, he's here now. The farm's pretty roughed up from the season transition, so I have a lot of cleaning to do. I get my farm plot cleared out and buy some spring crops. I do notice that there are onions now, which were definitely not there before. For the crop field itself, I just fill it with cauliflower. Then I also have the second field near the bottom of my farm that I clear out. I'd like for this to be a second crop field eventually. Cleaning takes so long that it lasts into the next day, and it looks like those water shifters we unlock catch items similar to what you'd find in a panning spot. Heading into the forest, we catch Andy foraging around. It actually leads to a pretty nice heart-to-heart where he tells us he's been a bit jealous seeing us succeed with our farm despite him being around longer. It's nice seeing him so open. I'll need a new hat for the warm months, and I settle on the watermelon band. Most of the day is dedicated to giving out gifts. Unfortunately, the prismatic jelly quest has shown up, and it's back to the mines for me. I spend the rest of my night searching for the slime with no luck. Oh yeah, since we can get rain now that we're in spring, the closed down Joja Mart opens up, and I hit level 5 binning. My choices are between a cheaper recipe for recycling machines or never getting caught digging in the trash, which is an easy choice for me. Most of the mahogany trees are ready the next morning, making me some sorely needed hardwood. With a couple of new fish under our belt, I get the last of the 4 fish ponds started. Checking in on the missing bundle, there's nothing new, and I brought a prismatic shard I had lying around to fill in the first slot. While walking through Sophia's vineyard, I believe we found her 8-heart cutscene. She's having a moment in her parents' old room and we knock on the door. She explains to us that she's still having a hard time without her parents, and we just say that we're here for her if she needs us. After our business in Pelican Pelican Town is done, I'm off to the desert because we're buying seeds. It's about time we start getting the island farm set up. I actually don't have my axe with me, so the wood debris will stay for a bit. And while we're here, I kickstart the birdie quest now that Kent has arrived. Speaking of, it's his birthday. After giving him the war memento, I hit him with a rabbit's foot, and while I'm in town, I might as well set up the market today, just with some mayonnaise for now. And another result of the rain being back, I can finally grab the mermaid's pendant. After all of this time, I proposed to Olivia, and it's pretty heartwarming since she is a widow, so there's a lot of weight to deciding to marry again. Continuing Birdie's quest, I give the tomato salt to Gus, and I can't go to the desert. So I guess that's where we stop for now. After grabbing some dinosaur mayo from the farm, I donate it to the missing bundle. Heading up to the mountains, we have a cutscene with Marlin. He shows us the graveyard where a lot of previous members of the Adventurers Guild lie, and then invites us to be a part of it. Of course I accept, and he'll let us know when the next meeting is. I was actually just coming up here to see what flowers are growing at the summit. There's thistle, and one we haven't seen before, Ferngill Primrose. One last to do for the day. It's raining, so I'd like to try my hand at the legend. Last year we didn't get level 10 fishing fast enough to grab it last spring. It doesn't take long at all to hook it, and it is possibly the easiest legend catch I've ever seen. Next morning, I craft a bunch of kegs and start filling up that shed we had built. I decide our fourth fish pond will hold the meteor carp. They look like they can probably give me iridium ore. Now that we can go to the desert, I turn in the rose to Sandy, the remote to George, and on the way to the wizard, I buy a few more rabbits now that I have the money. I forgot I was doing phone names. So say hello to the Nokia E71 Black Steel. I feel like 3 people out there just lost their minds hearing their favorite phone mentioned. And then the nothing phone. Back on track, I give the wizard the Arctic Shard, Willy the Worm, and finally Birdie the... Where's Birdie? I had no clue that she could actually move. Well, since it's a rainy day, we can finally complete the bird gem quest, and that's 5 walnuts. I close out the day by fishing, getting a golden walnut, a snake skull I still needed, and what I was actually going for, a baby Lunaloo, directly followed by a regular Lunaloo. Did a little bit of cooking for sashimi that morning, earning cooking level 6. I'm thinking Birdie might just be gone on rainy days, as she's there for us to turn in the necklace the next morning. 5 more walnuts, which just so happens to be enough to open up Ginger Island East. I grabbed the smattering of golden walnuts over there for us to collect, along with a stingray. Back in Pelican Town, the iridium axe is ready, marking all of the more important tools being fully upgraded. While I'm here, I have a golden coconut to pop open, earning yet another golden walnut. We've done a lot of fishing lately, so again, I have a lot of fish that I want to take to the aquarium. And while we're at it, I figure let's see what new types of fish we can find in the Witch's Swamp. Sure enough, I find a void minnow, purple seaweed, and the usual void salmon, although there's one fish that I'm nowhere near being able to catch, which is a bit of a shock since I was able to snag the legend so easily. I'll come back for that sometime later. For now, we donate the fish we do have. Notably, while the aquarium is able to take fish from the Distant Lands mod, they're not displayed anywhere. That's only reserved for a few mods since that's a lot more complicated to add in. Our hard work has earned us the legendary bait in the shop, which allows us to recatch any of the legendary fish we've already caught. Useful if we accidentally sell one or something. Do you hear the bells? It's wedding day. Been looking forward to this for a while. It actually gets really lonely on the farm when you're used to a spouse always hanging around on the other files. I start the day off with a few more kegs in the shed and I get it automated. I can set down a chest with all the coffee beans I've been harvesting in the greenhouse and they'll be worked through all on their own. It's Lewis's birthday, he gets beamed, and I've let it linger for too long. I need to complete the prismatic slime quest today. During the search, I find the secret note that unlocks floor 100 of the Skull Cavern, so that's on the to-do list for later. It takes some time, but I finally found the slime, and as if laughing in my face, I get 2 jars of prismatic jelly. Mind you, the second one is completely useless and will be deleted off the face of this earth once the quest ends, so I can't keep it for the swag. Well, I turn it in, and I guess to get some use out of the extra jar, I slap it onto a sign next to the lucky ring grave. Now it's immortalized. We're rewarded the next morning with the Monster Musk recipe. It's one of Concerned Ape's cruelest jokes that it would have been really useful for the Prismatic Slime quest. I did notice that it's Lance's birthday. Unfortunately, he's not anywhere that we can reach him. Ironic, given the area he is unlocked through high friendship with him. Today's a real opening the scissors packaging without scissors kind of day. Well, we did get the floor 100 secret note yesterday, and no time better than the present to knock it out. I did get a prehistoric floor on the way down, always appreciated. We all know how hard it can be to complete the Dinosaur Slayer goal. Got a treasure room on floor 40 with the Crystallarium in it, pretty nice. Nothing specific really goes wrong in this run, I don't die or anything. It's just a bit unlucky. By the time it's late, I'm not even close to floor 100, so I bail. Didn't really bring any staircases, wanted to see if I could do it raw, but no such luck. Well, those hardwood trees have all grown and been cut down, so it's time to convert this field into a crop field. I've got enough resources for a bunch of iridium sprinklers now, so I get it set up. Ain't she a beaut? I took a bit too long to set it up, and Pierre's closed though, so I'll have to come back for seeds tomorrow. I have a harvest of ancient fruit ready, and with 5 of gold star quality, I can fill another slot in the missing bundle. While I was in the area, I tried to turn in a rabbit's foot in for the special charm, but I guess you actually need to find the secret note for it first. Heading into town the next day to grab crops for the field, I stumble upon a Victor cutscene. Hello, son. Apparently he's under a lot of pressure to find a job, which, as I know, in a small town, it's hard to get any employment if you've never had a job before, especially when he's a young adult. Despite that, I keep it real with him. JoJo workers will not be tolerated in this family. Did you say 200 more cauliflower seeds? Because I heard 200 more cauliflower seeds. I have a bit of extra time after filling up the farm, so I head to the other farm to knock out all of the wood we couldn't last time, and then I end my day with some volcanoing. I found one of the journal scraps that lead me to a gold walnut, and I found just enough gold walnuts to set up the island trader. I checked for anything modded here, but for now, it's all vanilla. It's been a while since I've spent a serious day at the market. I'd like to make a little more money, so I stick it out the whole time today, giving gifts to all the villagers that come by. But I did notice Gus going down to Ginger Island, so I head down there as well to grab the recipe he sells. Good thing I did, because there's another new recipe here, and I don't like it. After the market day closed, I went up to the Adventurers Guild to check what I had left for Slayer quests, and I accidentally find a cutscene. We're setting up another warp for the Nexus straight to the Adventurers Guild. Convenient. As for the Slayer goals, I'm pretty close to the slime one, and the slime ring will be real handy while setting up the slime breeding area. So I head in to try to knock it out. Didn't quite manage to finish it out that night. Next morning, I head into the witch's hut to catch a void salmon, since it's the last thing we need to finish up the missing bundle. It's quite a bit harder since there's a bunch of other fish to catch here now, but it's not too long before I catch a gold quality one. So then I can turn in silver quality wine and the void salmon, and that's it. The last Junimo explodes and something will soon happen. I've got some business in the desert. First, I trade a bunch of Omni Geodes we've gotten both from the Skull Cavern dive a few days ago and Ginger Island for artifact troves. Then I have to scout out for the spot that has one of the strange dolls. Since the area's changed so much, it's buried in a completely different spot. I spend the rest of the day replenishing the wood we used in all of those kegs. Speaking of, ooh, we got coffee. Overnight, we see the JoJo Mart being fixed up by the Junimos. 13th of spring marks the Egg Festival. Not really much to do here but win the egg hunt, which I didn't even do. Youch. The next day, my first harvest of cauliflower is ready, and I go ahead and replace them. For Haley's birthday, I specifically go out to the desert to find a gold quality coconut, which is just enough to max her out at 8 hearts. Then I popped open all of those treasure troves we grabbed, leading to 2 more items being donated. After all of the wood grinding I've been doing, I finally have enough for the second house upgrade for the cellar. And since we unlocked it, we have to check out the movie theater. If you were curious, Claire and Martin work there now instead of Joja, so they're still around. I decided to bring Leah in since she likes the littlest sapling, and she's pretty far behind on friendship. 2 new mods for the start of the week: blast furnaces add better performing furnaces, and firefly torches, since they'll be a better match for the theme of the overgrown farm. Being able to give Olivia a gift every day skyrockets our friendship, allowing us to get the star drop from reaching 12 hearts. Starting the week, I head out to the Secret Woods to try and replenish all the hardwood I just spent on the house upgrade, and I managed to max out Evelyn's friendship. And then once it got dark out, I set up a bunch of the fireflies to light up the farm. The vibes are now effervescent. One problem I've been having for a while is that it seems like the slimes on the farm are escaping faster than they're multiplying, and escaping means that they're just gone. This is a problem I'll have to work through for the rest of the run if I want to get this slime farm going. We wake up to Olivia making some special Gatoran coffee for us, and then she invites me to the aerobics class today. I'll try to remember it. I can pick up my finished steel hull and I move on to the gold frying pan, which will allow me to cook recipes with 3 ingredients. I'm able to find Lance today, reaching 1 heart with him. I caught the aerobics class and I do some aerobics. We finished out the class by doing some meditation with Olivia. Got a couple of chores to do on Ginger Island. I grabbed some bone fragments and I trade them for the banana pudding recipe. My starfruit are also ready, but I get really unlucky with no walnuts. The next morning, the living large achievement procs, meaning our house is done being upgraded. I was able to find the second snake vertebrae, finishing up the snake for 3 more walnuts. So remember those shops in the Junimo Woods? I'm going to use them to my advantage. There's not a ton of artifacts and minerals left for me to donate, and I can get a couple of them here, which leads to 3 more donations and unlocks our free flute block, the surprise tool that can help us later. I then go and destroy 6 cauliflower to make room for a Junimo hut that I don't have the resources for, so I go hunting for said resources. Also, I make a tropical curry. A lot of Lance's loved items are things I've never even heard of, and somehow tropical curry is the easiest to find of them all. The gold frying pan is ready and I open another golden coconut. Now that I've already gotten the golden walnut, all I'm waiting for now out of it is the fossilized skull, but no luck yet. Then I go back to the volcano, first to find any walnuts that are lagging behind, but also to get the stone I need for the Junimo hut. The first thing I find isn't a walnut, but the completion of the Slime Slayer goal. That's not all, I do find 3 golden walnuts and a journal scrap that hints towards another walnut. At the end, I have enough cinder shards to combine my iridium band and burglar's ring, a must-have combo in my opinion. I got enough walnuts to unlock our mailbox on the island, which is only important because I can't get the obelisk back to the farm until I get it. Before leaving, I grab the walnut from the journal scrap we grabbed back in the volcano. I've got another cutscene back in the Blue Moon Vineyard. Sophia shows us her basement full of casks, and I want to say this is an intentional showing of how competent she is, you know, following the meta of the game. Unlike, say, Andy, for example, who doesn't follow the meta and often complains about how little money he's bringing in. This is the scene where she finally brings down her walls and tells us about her parents. They had died from a car crash, apparently the fall right before we arrived, super recently. We offer to unpack their room sometime in the future. I now have everything I need to set up our Junimo hut, so that the bottom crop field will be automated. This prompts the wizard to visit our farm because we need to set up the better Junimo mod that I installed like 50 days ago. This will allow me to donate a few items to the Junimos every now and again so that they can do things like harvest in the rain or increase their range, things like that. And then I go out of my way to catch a king salmon in the forest, which we were told about in a cutscene quite a while ago. I do one thing the next day that may seem weird. I set up crab pots on the beach. I haven't actually gotten any ocean fish from crab pots up to this point, and I figure while I'm at it, I might as well set up a chest that has a ton of bait in it so that if we ever need any ocean crab pot fish in the future, we have them here. And then, just like we promised, I meet up with Sophia to clean up her parents' room. A bit of a symbolic moment to show that she's moving forward. Then I'm headed to the Stardew Valley Aquarium, not to donate more fish, but because I believe there's a legendary fish here we can catch. If you don't recognize this little guy, this is the puffer chick, which is the icon for Smappy. I suppose a representation of all the wacky things you can do with mods. I didn't actually know it was going to be a legendary fish though, so I came woefully unprepared. I'll have to come back later. As a thanks, the next morning, Sophia sent us an aged Blue Moon wine, which is a crazy item, by the way. It buffs your luck by 7 points. And normally she sells it for like 25,000 gold, so this is a pretty good gift. And then, just out of random thought that I had at the moment, I decided to complete the casino quest because I haven't so far, and usually I have that done in year 1. Checking the casino store, I see that there's a new statue of treasure that's incredibly expensive. So that's also on the to-do list. And finishing out my day, I actually decide to expand our path on the farm a little bit, down near the bottom left of the farm where I eventually want to make my obelisk hub. The next morning, Scarlet says hi to us. Now, we've seen her a couple of times here and there in cutscenes related to Sophia, but now she's officially becoming a giftable character. I want to say this was set off by Sophia's 8 heart event happening, but I'm not quite sure. Checking the bottom crop field, I think this is the first time we've ever gotten a giant crop. Knocking it out gives us a couple more crops than we usually would have gotten, and a guaranteed secret note, which is actually the one that we needed for the special charm. Today's gonna be yet another volcano cleanup day. It's really hard to keep track of which golden walnuts I've gotten out of here and which ones I haven't, so I kinda just keep going at it until I stop getting golden walnuts. I also found a prismatic shard while I was in there, which is pretty nice. The next day is mostly a gifting day, but since we are getting a little bit close to the end of spring, before I forget, I grab a garlic seed for Ginger Island. We'll need that for a couple of golden walnuts later. And gifting Lance's tropical curry today gives us 2 hearts with him, which I believe unlocks something pretty big later. While doing the rounds later on Ginger Island, I pan up the fossilized tail, which I did need to donate, and then I do another round in the volcano. I finally found the mummified bat, which you can only get from rocks here, and that can be traded in for another golden walnut. The only fossil left is the fossilized head found in the golden coconuts. Next morning, I go ahead and get that garlic seed growing. It's not the first crop we need grown, but no reason not to. And then I take a quick trip to the volcano because I have my second set of rings that I want to combine. During that huge panning that I did that got me the fossilized tail earlier, I also got a lucky ring, so I combine that with the slime ring to make another pretty good combo that I'd almost always recommend. Upon heading back to the regular farm, Marlin catches us saying that we should meet him at the Adventurers Guild, but before that we do have the flower dance. There's not really anything I need to get here, but it is a chance to get an extra heart with someone, and I choose Harvey. I'm sure my wife won't mind. With that done, we can go to the Adventurers Guild to see what they have for us. Marlin starts talking about the boat that's been docked at the Adventurers Guild that we can use to reach lands in the Highlands. But before he lets us, we do need to find a ton of monster parts. The bat wings and slime I already have in storage, but for everything else I'm gonna have to grind it out a bit. Thanks to the burglar's ring, it takes no time at all, and we turn everything into Marlin. And then he kinda just stands there and doesn't say anything, so I guess we have to wait until tomorrow. Tomorrow comes and Marlin is the first person we see, and he tells us to meet him at the dock. Before we go, in the interest of completing the shipping log, I grab all of the animals that I haven't yet bought for things like duck eggs and goat milk, stuff like that. Finally, it's time to set off. Welcome to the Highlands. Like we were told, Lance does have an outpost here, and this is where we'll be able to find him 2 out of the 7 days of the week. Lance tells us he's conducting experiments around the area, and for that, he actually needs the crops from 3 seeds that can be found here, and he just doesn't know how to grow them, so that's where we come in. At last, they let us loose in the Highlands. Right off the bat, there's 2 types of enemies here, slimes and wilderness golems. They're a little stronger than usual, but not too bad, and it doesn't take long to get slime seeds from the slimes, which seems like a hint that each type of enemy will drop their own type of seed. And sure enough, the wilderness golems drop stalk seeds. I keep working my way through the area, and on the left side of it I find a river. For now it seems like there's no new types of fish, but I'll have to check again in other seasons. At the top of the river there's a path leading up the mountain that's just completely covered by debris, so I decide to follow it. Things get a little more hectic here because there's not a lot of room to run around. Eventually I reach the peak where there's some sort of dinosaur boss. Before I can even think of taking it on though, I have to take out all the wilderness columns that keep spawning around the area. I start attacking it, and then I keep attacking it, and I keep attacking it, it's just not going down. Eventually, I do 1 swing too many before backing off, and I'm out. Here it's Lance that recovers us, and I don't lose any money, but I do lose 5 items out of my backpack, one of which being the slime seeds, which I need. So real quick, I go in, grab some more, and I'll leave the dinosaur for some other day. Before the night ends, I go ahead and plant the 2 seeds that I was able to get, and it looks like they'll take a few weeks before they're ready. Overnight, I get a vision of the Aurora Vineyard that's abandoned in the forest, saying that I sense something there now. For most of the next day, I'm taking a little break from combat and giving out gifts. All of that cauliflower that we harvested is pretty good because it's liked by almost everyone. Over on Ginger Island, I make some trades. First, 10 coconuts for a golden coconut, still looking for the fossilized skull, and I grab a banana sapling, which I'll need for some walnuts later on. And last, with the flute block that we got for free from the museum, I do the mermaid puzzle, 5 more walnuts. The next thing I decide to unlock is the parrot transportation system. It could just be useful. So before we go back to the Highlands, I'm thinking we need a few upgrades. And one that I failed to get before was the iridium milk on floor 100 of the Skull Cavern, so that's my goal today. And this time I'm gonna trade all of my jades for staircases before we start so that no matter what, I should be able to get there. Now personally, when I have a lot of staircases, my strategy is to use them at the beginning of the Skull Cavern since there's less iridium ore there, and then save just a couple just in case there's a floor later on that I don't want to do. So my real run essentially starts on floor 20. While I was down here, I got the strange note for a secret doll that I'm missing. Another prehistoric floor. I'm getting super lucky with these and I will not complain. Got a treasure floor on floor 65, got a red slime egg, which is nice just for the sell price, I guess. And just before hitting floor 100, I get another prehistoric floor. Then it doesn't take long before we've made it. Give me my 25 health points upgrade, thank you. I don't have too much time left, but just to make the most of it, I keep going down until I can't anymore. Just barely hitting floor 113 before passing out. That leads us into summer. We have one new mod this week, Shizy's String Lights, which is a decoration that we'll set up later. I only have one task today, and that's filling up our crop fields with summer crops. I buy a wide variety of them, mostly so I can fill in all the spots on the shipping log that they belong to. But as for the actual money crop, of course it has to be starfruit. I get them all set up, and that's my day. The next day I grab a melon seed and a wheat seed for Ginger Island, and I get them planted right away. Since the melon takes the longest to grow out of the 3 crops, I give it deluxe speed grow so it'll be ready just about at the same time. After that message we got overnight a couple days ago, I finally have the extra time to go visit the Aurora Vineyard. Weirdly enough, there's a Junimo plaque in there that I can't read, which I should be able to since I can understand the language of the Junimos. So I go to the wizard to have him check it out instead. And even he can't decipher it because apparently it's an ancient version of the Junimo language. So he brings in a friend who can decipher it, Camilla. And apparently the plaque is asking for 200 starfruit. Well, that wasn't what I was planning to use all the starfruit I planted yesterday for, but alright. Well, it feels kind of useless now, but since we have a basement, I'm going to fill it up with casks and get the starfruit wine that we already have upgrading. With our health upgrade, along with the knowledge we gained last time we went there, I think it's time to give another attempt at the Highlands. This time with a plan. Before we head out, I get the gold hoe upgrading, and we're off. So first, before anything else, I found this weird wooded off spot on the right side of the Highlands. In here, there's mushroom enemies, kind of like the ones you find in the dangerous mines, that drop another kind of the seeds that we need. I spot a fish that we haven't caught before in the pond here, but I have other plans today, so I can't spend too much time trying to get it. And then at the bottom of the mountain, I spot another path that seems to lead to a cave. I head in and it leads to a huge cavern filled with new enemies, ores, and a bunch of minerals just sitting on the ground. The shadow enemies that live here give me my fourth and final seed, the Void Seed. So apparently that dinosaur at the top of the mountain wasn't part of that quest at all. And deep in the cavern I find yet another lake filled with yet more fish I haven't caught before. And I find this secret path nearby that leads to a couple of mystic stones and a little island of sorts, which is huge because otherwise it'd be pretty dangerous to fish here. At this point I'm really deep in, it's already getting late. I probably won't have time to get out of here and back to the farm anyway, so I'm gonna spend some time fishing. Come to find, it's another super hard fish that I'm not ready for. Just to the right of that I find another path that's very heavily guarded by enemies, which is a little suspicious. Turns out it's because they're guarding a dwarf that they've imprisoned. And of course they mention that the monster at the top of the mountain has swallowed the key. So that's a little extra reason for us to go for that dinosaur. And they leave us off with, if it touches us, we'll surely be met by a horrible fate. Yeah, I know. Money's getting a tad low and I have to fund all of those starfruit I'm gonna give away for free, so I engage in the market this week. And as always, it's a great opportunity to give gifts to everyone. Abigail keeping it real. After that's over, I decide to give a serious attempt at the puffer check. With the buff from the Dish of the Sea, it's not too hard. And since we're here anyway, I go ahead and donate it. So when Scarlett visited us earlier, she actually said we could take the train to her house, just in case we ever want to visit. So I give it a look. It's weirdly like a different town. Like it has a bulletin board, it has different houses, but it's just this small area that you're able to explore. I don't know how to describe it. It's like being in an alternate Stardew Valley. In her house, I can meet her family and everything, but she's the only giftable character here. I don't know why, but this just seems so weird to me. Like this entire area added just for one character that just like visits Pelican Town anyway. Not that I'm complaining, it's cool, but it just seems like so much effort, you know? After that, it's back to the Highlands again because I didn't actually get to do what I wanted to do last time, and that's climb up the mountain and have a rematch with the dinosaur. So this is the plan I was alluding to earlier. I brought my slingshot filled with tons of iridium ore, dealing anywhere from 150 to 250 damage on each shot. And it's very expensive to use, but I just keep pelting it until it finally goes down. It drops a couple of items I don't recognize. First, there's the ornate treasure chest, which seems to be just a treasure chest that sells for more money. And then there's a key, and I know where it goes. Back in the cave, I let the dwarf go free, and they head on out, saying that they'll repay us sometime. It seems while I was out, I got level 5 archaeology, giving me the choice between having more artifact spots appearing, or a higher chance to find artifacts while panning. Personally, I'm not much of a panner, so I choose pioneer. Gold hose ready. Before I get the next tool upgrading, I open a couple of geodes, and start upgrading the watering can. Nothing new from the geodes, unfortunately. It's Martin's birthday today, and I give him some good pumpkin juice, and now he's so close to being maxed out. We've collected a lot of prismatic shards over the last few weeks. So what I'm gonna do is give all of my tools that haven't been enchanted yet an enchantment. I got archaeology on my hoe and swift on my pickaxe, after which I'm limited by my cinder shards, so no more enchanting. From all that friendship we gained with Martin, we get another cutscene from him. This time he's alone with Claire at the bus stop, both going home I'm assuming. And props to him, He shoots his shot respectfully, but Claire turns him down, saying that they're just too different to be anything more than friends. And like an insult, I immediately have a cutscene with my wife afterwards. She says she wants to visit the Sakura Vineyard in Grampleton. She makes a reservation for us next spring. Mind you, it's like summer 5th, so that'll be a while. Pretty sure that's her 14-heart cutscene too, so that's torture. The next morning, the first of our monster crops are ready, the slime berry. Now we just have to wait for the other 3 and we'll be done with that quest. I grabbed the strange doll at the beginning of the day, just in case it falls into the river. That'd really suck, huh? And by donating that and the rusty spur, that is all of the artifacts finished, with just 3 minerals left to go. It's Scarlett's birthday today, so I hit her with a maple syrup, a good jump start on our friendship since we unlocked her so late, and we get our first cutscene right outside of her house. Apparently she likes being the one here in Grampleton that takes all the odd jobs and weird requests that are on the bulletin board. So she's kind of like the Grampleton version of us. So for those string lights, we actually have to get them built at Robin since they count as farm buildings. I pretty much set them up wherever they'll fit, and I'll go back to fix the pathing later. So, we've been sitting on this Grandpa's Shed mission for a long time, mostly because we've had absolutely no way to get battery packs since we unlocked it. Tomorrow's going to be our first thunderstorm in almost a year, so I have a bunch of lightning rods set up to take advantage of it. Hopefully we can finally get it started. That night, our baby is born, and I'll be darned if I break the phone naming scheme. That's a baby. The gold watering can is finished, so I move on to the gold trash can, which is the last gold tool we have to upgrade. Then I'm filling our basement with more casks, and I actually remember I want to get it automated. It's something I consistently forget about when I've set something up for the first time. Still getting used to it, I guess. It also means that I don't really need this path to get around all the casks like usual, so eventually I'll try to fill in this place completely. And right before the end of the day, I'm able to catch Gus on his birthday, give him a gift, and max him out. We got lucky and got 2 thunderstorms in a row, so I'll have plenty of batteries to fix up Grandpa's shed. Most of the other items I've been hoarding for months, so they're already ready. Finally, I have everything. I finished the quest for Grandpa's shed, and nothing happens, so I guess it'll finish up tomorrow. That seems to happen a lot. With the rest of my day, I gather some of the automated items that have been accumulating around the farm and sell them for a pretty hefty profit. Robin visits us the next morning about Grandpa's shed. She still has to work on it to fix it up, so it'll be ready tomorrow. So while we're waiting, I go back to the volcano to grind out cinder shards of all things. I actually want to get them so that I can finish up all of our enchantments. During the trip, I was able to get 28 more cinder shards, which feels like it's about average. No golden walnuts though, so I'm thinking we might have gotten them all from here. Speaking of, the next morning, our melon's ready. We can now head to the Gourmand Frog and rapid fire get 5 walnuts after 5 walnuts after 5 walnuts for having those crops growing. Which means we have enough to unlock the walnut room. This, to me, is usually where the end game begins, but for this specific run, it's a little bit different. Normally, unlocking the walnut room means you have access to every item in the game, but with Stardew Valley Expanded, there's still a couple of important unlocks we haven't gotten. So for now, I'd say we're just nearing the end of mid-game. That said, this is still huge. We can finally start doing key quests to get key gems to start getting some of the more powerful items in the game. And for our first quest, I take 4 precious stones. I just hate doing Keys Prismatic Grange that much. And you might remember we just had all 4 of them just sitting around waiting for enchantments, but I think they're better used here. So already I have 40 key gems to work with, so I grab the key to the town. Honestly, sometimes I feel like it's impossible to play this game before I have it. Being able to go in and out of whatever building whenever I want is huge. I just keep the rest of the gems for now. I figure I might as well check our perfection percentage while we're here, and it's 37%, which, you know, I've had worse getting here, especially considering there's so many modded items, so we'll take it. We still have the luau to go to today, and I didn't bring anything. I thought I had grabbed a golden magma cap, but apparently I missed my click on it because I never grabbed it. Well, that's what the emergency starfruit's here for, I guess. Get a little bit of bonus friendship with everyone. Just for some money, I cooked a bunch of sashimi at the end of the day, which led to level 7 cooking. All of these cooking recipes are starting to feel very intimidating. So to address the pepper wrecks in the room, yes, Grandpa's shed is ready. I don't really have anything to fill it up with at this point. So we're gonna let it linger until later when we finally want to do something with it. Instead, I've brought 44 Omni Geodes to Clint, hoping that I can possibly get the rest of the minerals we need for the museum. I got nothing. With that failure, we get the iridium frying pan cooking. For the first time in a while, I'm gonna spend a day in the mines for a couple of reasons. There's a couple of monster slayer goals we still haven't completed of monsters that are only found in the mines, and most of the minerals we're missing are from the frozen geodes, so I'm gonna be in the ice floors specifically. And by the end of the day, I was able to knock out the skeleton slayer goal. I had 14 frozen geodes by the end, but I couldn't pop them open because Clint's working on the iridium pan. Remember, this is 1.5. So next day, I'm headed to the Highlands, not to fight this time, but because I want to go fishing in all the spots that I saw fish. And that dwarf we saved opened up a shop. It's full of mines-themed decorations, and while I don't have the money nor the space to really use this, I really would like to make a mines-themed room at some point. So first on the list of fish to catch is the one that's in the pond. Although while I'm here, I think it's because of the rain, there's green mushroom enemies here, and they drop green mushrooms. Clearly a reference to the 1-up mushrooms from Mario. They give you a humongous max energy buff, as well as act as a full restore for all of your stats. So that's pretty nice. So I'm having a lot of trouble catching whatever new fish is in here, and the whole time I'm being bombarded by a mushroom that strolls by and then it'll lock onto me and start killing me. So I have to be really careful because while you're playing the fishing minigame, they will continue to damage you. Unfortunately, I end up having to get out of there with nothing to show for my work. So I did forget about this, but I did add a mod that adds more giant fruit, and heading down to my crop field, there's giant starfruit there, and that entire harvest is just enough to meet the 200 starfruit requirement from the Junimo and the Aurora Vineyard. So guess we'll see what's up with that soon. Our iridium frying pan is ready, which gives us the opportunity to pop open all of those frozen geodes we got. And luckily we do get one of the minerals we have left, leaving 2 more. For the rest of the day, I play around with some of the crafting recipes that I've gotten that I haven't messed around with yet, like the preservation chamber from the archaeology skill. So in my original playthrough of this game, I made a huge aquarium on my farm, and this time I think I'd like to make a sort of museum type deal using the preservation chamber. Finishing the day, I replant the field full of starfruit that we can actually use to make a profit this time. So, the next week, I updated the game to 1.6. There's so many things that changed from this. Stardew Valley Expanded itself had a pretty huge update, so there's a lot for us to do. At the same time, that does mean that there are some mods that are no longer compatible. Luckily, most of the major mods that I installed made it through, but if you want the specifics on which mods did and didn't make it, on the spreadsheet that has all of the mods that I'm using, there's a little checkbox next to them that marks if they've made it through to 1.6 or not. Any items from mods that didn't make it through, for example, here I have all the amber items that didn't make it, they're turned into these weed items, and luckily they do retain their selling price so I can still make a profit from them. So all that said, I did add some more mods, this time taking advantage of 1.6 features. I have 2 mods that add more books. As a result from us donating all of those starfruit to the Aurora Vineyard, looks like a Junimo's moved in. This is Apples, and they're a new giftable NPC, and they're also going to fix up the Aurora Vineyard in their own little way. So we are level 10 in all of our skills, which means the mastery door is open to us, but we still need to get the experience to actually get anything. Walking into town, I get jump scared by a new type of tree, a birch tree. This is actually part of the expanded 1.6 update, and they have a new item that you can get from tappers that I'll need for a couple of new craftables. And I found an artifact spot at the bus stop that gave me an old coin. This is a new artifact right as we were finishing up the museum, added with the update of Expanded. So it looks like we have a bit more work to do. Apparently, I've never caught the mutant carp, so I head on down to the sewers and real quick, I get it. So this night, we see the mystery boxes being dropped around the valley. We're gonna be seeing a lot of 1.6 features get added really quick. Things that would normally be spread across a couple of months, but since we just added it and we're already at the beginning of year 2, here we are. Checking our mailbox the next morning, it is absolutely filled with new recipes added in 1.6. And alongside those, we get our first book. Funny enough, it's a modded one, not a vanilla one. It allows us to sell any extra purple shorts we find straight to Lewis. So today I spend time just going through my farm, taking note of everything that's changed with the update. Also, my fence decayed and I did have to repair it. There's bunches of new crafting recipes, including a butter churner, which I go ahead and set up, why not? I grab the newly added cave jelly from the mines, and I grab a freebie prize ticket from from behind where the bookseller usually is. Checking the special orders, there's one from Olivia, and I'm not quite sure if it'll give me something new like a crafting recipe, but I want to complete it regardless. It requires that we add wine, cheese, and goat cheese to Olivia's cabinet in her house. I checked the key quests for the week, and they are the exact same ones from last week. And I don't have any prismatic shards now, so I guess I'll take the prismatic grange. There is a book power in Mr. Key's shop that will help me find more key gems apparently, so no reason not to take it. So I'm here on the shore of Ginger Island, and I'm seeing tons of new fish. There's like a sunfish, I see a shark, a blue tang, and tons of others that I can't really name. And so I do my best to catch as many as I can. I catch a blue tang pretty quick. I grab the vanilla sea jelly, but I don't really find anything else, so I head to Ginger Island South to see if there's anything new there. I do get a barred knife jaw, and that's when my fishing tackle wears out, so I head back to Pelican Town. I make use of that first prize ticket we got, getting some squash seeds. That's a new crop. You're gonna be hearing the word new a lot for the next few days. And then I do a little bit of a walkthrough to see if there's anything else I can find that I haven't found before. I find a hidden path at the bottom of the expanded forest, and it leads to a whole new lake area. And there's some like fairies watching me. I don't know, they never show themselves. Weirdly enough, I can wade into the water, which gives me a random mining buff. I believe that's different every time you go in. And at the end, there's a bunch of season appropriate random flowers. And as one does when they find a waterfall, I try to go behind it, and there's a secret area there with mushrooms and ancient fruit. So pretty good find. The next day, one big upgrade that's going to be a must-have going forward is the brand new big chest recipe, almost doubling the amount of items that a chest can hold. And when there's so many more items with expanded and everything, this is gonna be a must-have. And lucky us, we can just pop them over our existing chest and all the inventory will automatically move over. Visit Apples to give him his very first gift, and immediately we get his first cutscene, which has us setting up another Nexus warp straight here. That's nice. Previously I had to walk all the way through the forest to get here, so this will make things a little more convenient. Today is the day that all of the monster crops are ready. I turn them all into the lance, and we have the classic nothing happens, so I guess I'll wait for something to happen tomorrow. The next day I'm focused completely on getting all of the items I need for Key's prismatic grange. Finding 100 items of every color is not a small task. For green, yellow, and blue, it wasn't a big deal because I could just bring fiber, sap, and blackberries, which are blue for some reason. But then for like red and purple, I had to bring like 20 separate items because I just didn't have enough of one type of item. After all that, I still have some left for red and orange. For orange, I have to grind out some more copper ore, during which I find the beloved Monsters Compendium, kind of a very, very weak burglar's ring. And for red, it's kind of a last resort, but I'll use some extra explosive ammo that I have. And that's just enough to complete it. Honestly, I just save my gems for now. The next thing I want to get is Pierre's missing stock list because it makes a lot of the rest of the game a lot easier. Next, I have Olivia's quest to worry about. I do have wine, but it is ancient fruit wine, so that's gonna hurt. As for cheese and goat cheese, I have a ridiculous amount of cheese, but goat cheese is still building up. Donating everything we have so far leaves us just short on the goat cheese front. The next morning, Lance visits us since we completed the monster crop quest. The reward is in a chest at his house, so I guess we'll go get it. I head on in, spot the chest, and the item is a diamond wand, which I guess is a sword. It's a ridiculously high level, does absolutely no damage, but has plus 300 weight. What this effectively does is teleport the enemy away unless it gets stuck on a tree or something. Could be really useful for a wide open area. Wonder if that's foreshadowing. So today is the Trout Derby, a vanilla 1.6 event. I bring the bait maker to constantly turn any trout I catch into bait so that I can catch as many trout as possible. After which I pocket all the rewards, which are admittedly at this point in the game, a little underwhelming. Continuing the fishing mood, I go to the Grampleton Bridge because I noticed there's something new here. Turns out it's another legendary fish, which I'm not prepared for. Then I head down to the Sprite Spring to see if there's any new fish, but I'm stopped by those mysterious fairies again, and they have me set up a Nexus warp. A little niche, but I'll take it. The glowfish is the only new fish here, which is weird because it has the exact same sprite as the golden fish, but it's a different fish. And then while giving gifts out at the saloon, I check Gus's shop and there's just a ton of recipes to buy. So the next morning I get kidnapped by Camilla, but it's good because she's actually taking us to a new desert called the Crimson Badlands, which judging by the name is very safe. Look at the thumbnail, so many friends. Now look at it a little longer. It took me 3 hours. Camilla's basically asking us to help her out defending Castle Village from all the monsters around here, and the only way we can actually get get here is through a warp at our nexus. It's that far away. A lot to think about. It is Community Day though, and I actually want to take advantage of it this time with a ton of gifts. And while giving the dwarf a gift, I remember there's actually a book to buy here that reduces our damage from bombs. I'm not ending the day without checking out the Badlands. At the entrance, I meet some of my fellow adventurers. Isaac here warns us about the corrupted serpents, telling us not to be afraid to swallow our pride and run. So that's good. In the Badlands, there's a wide variety of enemies: mummies, slimes, serpents, skeletons, and some new enemy types, fallen adventurers, and scorpions. Altogether, it's incredibly overwhelming, and using the wand is all I can do to keep myself from being ran over. And the moment one of those void serpents pop on screen, I'm out of here. Honestly, no clue how I wasn't knocked out. While I wasn't able to slay too many enemies, the few items I did get were very valuable and useful for crafting some potions we found in our crafting menu. It's our son's birthday, and what kind of father would I be if I didn't give him a gift? It maxes them out. For this week's key quest, we have Key's Cuisine and Key's Kindness. At this point, I have so many characters maxed out that it would probably be better to go for Cuisine. The advantage of this quest is that it's completely buyable by buying wheat and cooking it into bread, which I do indulge in. Now, I did notice that sometimes there's a shop at the outpost, and with it being so late game, it has some wild items. There's a tempered galaxy dagger for 350,000 gold, new boots, cheap ammo, and a bunch of elixirs with some nice buffs. All things that'll be good to keep in mind for the future. So that bread wasn't anywhere near enough. More wheat, more bread. We've accumulated quite a few fish over the last week or two, so I dropped them off. I remembered I hadn't actually checked the desert shop since updating, so checking the trader, there's some new gold carrot seeds for gold bars, and in the oasis, there's a vegan cone recipe. What I'm really here for though is more starfruit seeds. I don't have a ton of motivation to do this since we can't get Junimo huts here, but I expand the island farm anyway. And that night, we did sell enough bread to complete the key quest. So I'm looking at our options here and thinking about it, I'm probably not going to use Pierre's stock list anytime soon, so instead I opt for the horse flute, or Zoomin. Say hello to the bookseller. He'll appear twice a month from now on to sell books. Not just vanilla books though, modded ones too. Just as some examples, one gives us a permanent magnetism buff, one lets trees grow in winter, and one lets us drive the bus ourselves. There's just so many that I couldn't begin to list them all. To get us started, I grab the ones that give us a speed boost. And to finish off the island farm, I craft a bunch of iridium sprinklers and fill her up. In the volcano, I spent some extra walnuts on filling up the bridge, and I get the last secret note we needed for walnuts. Which, speaking of, turns out I hadn't found them all here yet. The next morning I find yet another walnut from a muscle node. I'm starting to lose the scent of any remaining walnuts, so checking with the parrot, there's another in the volcano. On the way up I get the one from the journal scrap, and then I try to find that one missing nut. Lucky us, I find it from a rare chest on floor 9. That's a pretty good haul for the day. I consult the parrot again, and nothing. Guess I'm on my own. The next day my starfruits are ready, and while harvesting I get that beautiful notification in the corner indicating we've reached our first level of mastery. Unfortunately, I already have plans today, trying out the Crimson Badlands again. My plan this time is to move slowly and knock out all the enemies right as I see them so that I don't get overwhelmed like last time. It goes a bit better and I get a lot more items from their drops. And during the exploration, I find this odd area near the bottom left of the map that seems to lead to a cave. The defenses are too heavy for me though, and I end up getting knocked out. Camilla's the one that saves me here, and while it says she doesn't charge anything, I still seem to lose money. A lot of money, in fact. Looks like I'm still not quite ready for this area. And overnight, we hear a tree fall over. That means we can start the raccoon quest, but I don't have near enough hardwood for it. So I set up another batch of mahogany trees and grind out some from the stumps. While there, I found a new fish, the bull trout. Ending off the summer, we as always have the Moonlight Jelly Festival. And this time we get to watch it with our wife. With fall comes a new mod, Baubles, a heavy crafting mod meant to make extra useless items make some money. This is mostly through the atelier table. Before that though, we have a mastery to choose. I end up going with fishing because I've come across a lot of fish that are just too difficult to catch, and having 2 bobbers will help a lot with that. And being the beginning of the season, we gotta set up the crop field. When entering town to buy some seeds though, we're once again whisked away by Camilla so that she can show us adding a new fish into the river. Okay, time for seeds. We'll be using cranberries as they are unequivocally the best fall crop. With some extra time at the end of the day, we craft the atelier table and take a peek. So there's like a system here where you can make a bunch of very simple recipes, and these recipes become a part of some more expensive recipes, which are then parts of very complicated recipes that often sell for more than 10,000 gold when crafted. And at this point in my game, it's kind of hard to judge what items I'm going to be willing to part with, so we'll probably engage with this a lot more near the end. then there's also these frog stones that produce an ingredient for these items in the rain, and I get them set up. So this whole time, turns out I've completely missed a new swamp area. It's a part of Expanded that's another enemy-filled area similar to the Highlands and the Badlands, and with it, some more items from unique enemies required for crafting. Luckily, it doesn't seem to be as dangerous as the Badlands, so we can actually hold our own here. The most dangerous enemies seem to be these slow-moving green ghosts. Slow, but if they touch you, you're out of there. After exploring for a while, I find another area near the top that leads to some remixed shrines, doing things like making even more monsters spawn at night, preventing moss from growing, and this statue on the left won't tell us what it does. Nothing I'm interested in for now. And when I'm back, as usual, I donate one of each of the items I found for filling in the shipping log. I find a letter in the mail the next morning that seems to be a riddle for the Baubles mod. Each line hints to an item that needs to be used on a machine we have to make a petrichor heart, which the wizard immediately sends a letter afterwards asking us to find. No time for that for now. I'm headed back to the Badlands, not to fight though. It's a fishing trip. Kinda. See, I actually just need to scout this out first, because unlike any other fishing spot, this area isn't safe. I'm not able to cast in most of the water here, so I have to find the right spot, which ends up being near the southeast corner of the map. So here's the issue with fishing here. Even if I knock out all of the enemies nearby, the serpents will continuously spawn, preventing me from catching anything. So before we come back, we'll have to figure out a way to deal with that. The next day I found a couple of things of note. First, a bat flower, which is a new forageable for the Baubles mod, and then I dug up a book which says it makes better items spawn in artifact spots, whatever that means. Fishing's the plan today. To start it off, I buy the fish smoker, a machine added in 1.6 that dramatically increases the sell price of fish, and I head to the Grampled Bridge to try and catch that fish that Camilla added, and sure enough, I catch a kitty fish. Next, I want to get some more of the new fish in the swamp. Thanks to the bonuses we got from Fishing Mastery, I'm able to pull it up, and it turns out to be a void eel. And you know what? I'm willing to bet there's fish to catch in the swamp maze as well. And there are. So it's yet another dangerous area to catch fish. I'm not prepared for now, so I leave. On day 2 of our fishing quest, I buy a book from Willie that permanently increases our fishing level by 1, and then I try to catch some of the new Ginger Island fish. I also check the key quests while I'm here, but man, I just don't want to do either one of these. So I don't. Let's get to work. We got our first golden fishing chest from Fishing Mastery, always a treat, and I almost went the whole day with nothing to show for it until I finally got a shiny Lunaloo, the third variant of the moon jellies we've caught, and we hit level 2 of Mastery. Man, look at these notifications. Today we got a letter from Fizz for skipping perfection. We'll not be doing that. And the fishing chest is looking... To solve it, I'm going to make an automated system for our fish smoker. By simply putting a chest next to it full of all of the fish I don't need and some coal, it'll work right through them all so that I can sell them, and that's looking much better. The Baubles frog machines have made a star jelly, which I believe are one part of the puzzle we got earlier. To get them into their final form, we, oddly enough, need to put them through the charcoal machine. It's Zick's birthday today. Yes, there's 2 of them. Don't worry about it. 126 mods gets crazy sometimes. So it's been forever since we've been here, but this is the Deep Woods, a modded dungeon kind of similar to the mines. We weren't able to get far at all last time, but I want to test my limits. I thought that I could get a lot farther now that we're higher combat level, have better weapons, but I didn't even notice how much damage the enemies were doing to me even by floor 18, which caused me to get knocked out. Good to know. I'll actually need to prepare for the next time I come here. The bookseller is back, and this time I decided to get Stardew Valley++, and I don't know what it does until after I use it. It gives me a small multiplier on any experience I get, which I hope applies to Mastery. I'm a little late, but I checked the special orders for this week, and there's one from Sophia called Fairy Garden. And just like the Olivia one, which I wasn't able to finish by the way, I want to see if there's a unique reward for it. For it, I need fairy seeds, fairy stones, and fairy dust. A couple of fairly hard to get items. Well, with that in mind, I'm headed off to the Highlands again because I still need to catch those fish. I'm back at the pond, and unfortunately, it seems like one of the fish that was here before isn't here anymore, and it's been replaced by the fiber goby, which I am able to catch. Next, I'm headed into the cave. While I'm here, completely on accident, I complete the Pepper X Slayer goal. Huge. I hate having that be the last Slayer goal. And we're on a roll because soon after I complete the Rock Crab Slayer goal, before finally reaching that little nook where we can fish safely. I didn't know this can happen, but bats started spawning, and I had to stop fishing because of it, and I completed the Bat Slayer goal as well. And then they gave me a break break just long enough to be able to catch the gem fish. I don't have enough time to escape and get back to my farm, so I decide to go crazy in the cave and I get another Slayer goal, this time for the Void Spirits. They must have just all been really close to being completed. This was not planned at all. I focus on making sure I don't get knocked out before I pass out at 2 a.m. So I've had these 4 fish ponds sitting here for quite a while. I forgot that I could just put a chest next to them and it would automatically grab all the produce out of them, so I set that up now. I'm back at the Highlands because while I was looking at the map, I noticed a second cave that I never found, and I'd like to see what it is. I end up having to climb most of the way up the mountain to reach it, and inside is the Diamond Cave, filled with diamond flowers, a new forageable, and tons of diamond nodes. After clearing them all out, there's one more prize for my efforts, a new fish in the lake at the top of the cave. Also, this seems to serve as a place to very easily catch ice pip. The new fish ends up being pretty easy. It's called a diamond carp. I was planning on heading straight back to my farm, but I spotted a weird green fish in the river. I have never seen it before, so I try to catch it. Unfortunately, I think I started fishing right after it leaves the area, but I did catch a midnight carp, which I weirdly enough have not caught before. On the next day's schedule, we have the Tapper farm over here. So the issue is there's these new fir and birch trees that are added with 1.6, and I need to add them to the tap farm here. So I clear out some of the existing trees and get them planted. And it'll be a couple more days until they're ready to be tapped. So regarding Sophia's mission, she asked for fairy stones, which funny enough, I remember I can actually buy from the Junimo Woods. They only sell 3 at a time though, so I'll have to come back a couple times to get enough. A while ago, we got enough experience to get our 2nd level of mastery, so it's time to choose. I'm pretty torn on this one. All of them could be equally useful. I end up choosing combat because, first of all, we've been doing a ton of combat, so it just makes sense. I'd like to have access to the trinket system. When we're in these areas killing so many monsters, imagine a parrot there to constantly give us money every time we knock one out. It seems great, so that's what I'm hoping for. Catching the midnight carp reminded me there are a couple of other vanilla fish I still need to catch, so I grabbed the new 1.6 goby from the waterfalls near the south of Cindersap Forest. Second item on the to-do list for Sophia's quest, I just need to straight up buy 50 fairy seeds, which are very expensive, but gotta do it sometime. I checked the key quest for the week and we have Skull Cavern Invasion finally. This is huge because we need to get either this or the Dangerous Mines quest to be able to get radioactive ore. It's the only type of key quest that's technically required. So all of our star jellies are done going through the charcoal machine. I think I have everything I need to solve the Baubles riddle. 5 solar essence, 5 void essence, and 10 crystallized star jelly. That works getting our petrichor heart started. And the next morning it's done being made. I went to Robin just to get another shed built. I wanted to start that artifact project I mentioned before, and I saw that there's premium coops and premium barns. Holding up to 16 animals, already has an auto petter, grabber, and heater, but it's worth just tons of money and materials. I think eventually I'll go for that, but not now. I do get that shed started though. I brought the petrichor heart to the wizard just like he asked, and I get 10,000 gold for it. The next day is when I decide I'll try to take on the dangerous skull cavern. I figure it shouldn't be any harder than the Badlands, right? Nothing here is gonna 1 or 2 shot me. I just gotta bring enough food and I should be good. And that's pretty much true. The monsters here are no problem for me. I did find some radioactive ore, which I will need. And I actually forgot about it, but since we started our combat mastery, we can find trinkets. The first one I get is a blue-green frog egg. This little guy will occasionally eat enemies, but I gotta say it kinda sucks because I won't get the drops from them, so I don't keep the frog for too long. While I was down here, I did complete another Monster Slayer goal, this time for the serpents, and I found a treasure room with an auto petter, which is the absolute jackpot. There's no other way to get them when you go the community center route in the game. I ended up cutting it pretty close. I didn't bring a ton of staircases, but luckily I found a hole near floor 100 that brought me down all the way. And before I leave, I hit the shrine on the way up that'll make sure the skull cavern is always in its dangerous mode, so anytime we need to come back for radioactive ore, we can. So my shed's ready. The next day is dedicated to getting this archaeology museum started. The biggest issue being I need tons of wood to make these displays. So for most of the day, I'm cutting down trees, during which I reach level 3 mastery. After all of that, hopefully I should be good on wood for the foreseeable future. So given I'm not using this top area for a crop field anymore. I kind of want to condense it and expand the pathing that goes everywhere. So that's the project for the morning. And then looking at the slimes, I think I finally have enough to start mixing them. I have a couple of goals, basically whichever one I meet first, I'll go with that. Gold slimes can drop gold, black slimes can drop coal. There's a lot of ways that this can go that can give me a specific resource infinitely, and I'll just take whatever happens. Since we completed the Dangerous Skull Cavern, we have a lot of key gems to work with, so I grab Pierre's missing stock list and the recipe for the heavy tapper, which could be very useful when it comes to getting all the extra birch and fir tree products that we need now. And we've had all the walnuts we need for a while, but I just noticed that we have enough to unlock the farm obelisk. Got a couple of more enchantments I want to do now. First, with the fishing rod, I'm hoping for master here, which gives me a permanent +1 fishing level. And I got it first try, so I can move on to enchanting the axe, which gets efficient. At this point in the game, I have so much energy, it's really just useless. New week, I'm adding the Weather Wonders mod, which adds a ton of major weather effects that we'll see throughout the rest of our playing. Checking the key quests again, we have the same missions we had last week, and I'm pretty much forced to choose the Skull Cavern again because I don't have enough time this month to do Key's Crop. And I spend some time giving gifts today. I get Leah maxed out at 8 hearts. I give Pierre the stock list. Probably won't use this for now, but later on when I'm trying to get all of the cooking recipes done, this is gonna be important. And then I get to harvesting all of the starfruit that's grown on Ginger Island, and I find out there's still some golden walnuts I haven't gotten from pulling up crops. I get those starfruit put into the cake shed, and I get the starfruit wine put into the casks. By the way, if you're wondering how Automate works when it comes to casks, it only automatically pulls the wine out once they hit iridium quality, which is fine, I'll just let them go. So the next day is the Stardew Valley Fair, and despite it being year 2, there's new items for us to get here. There's a prismatic pop cooking recipe and a second furniture catalog, which I probably won't have another chance to get, so I want to get it now. It's just 9,999 star tokens, the max that you can possibly have. What could go wrong? I have to gamble a ton of times to get these star tokens, and I have to be strategic in what order I get items, because I don't want to grab the 9,999 star token item first, because then I would have nothing to gamble with afterwards. So it ends up being the last thing I buy. Checking it out at the house, it's mostly wall decorations, and I'll do more with it once I finally start decorating everywhere. But for now, I just pull out the pride flag. I found a mermaid's pendant in Lewis's trash. Better luck next time, buddy. The plan for today is to go after the legendary fish that we spotted at the Grampleton Bridge. Now that I have my fishing rod enchanted with mastery, it shouldn't be too hard. Or so I thought. It still gives me a run for my money for a super long time. I don't know its exact difficulty stats, but it has to be the hardest fish I've caught so far. After 3 straight minutes of fishing, I catch it. The wolf snapper. Keeping the momentum, I go for that one fish that I spotted in the river in the Highlands a couple of days ago. It's called the Highlands bass, and apparently it's really common, but I've never seen it before. Continuing the momentum even further, I figure maybe I can finally catch some of those fish at Ginger Island I've been seeing but unable to catch, like the shark or the sunfish. But I just have absolutely no luck. I don't know if there's certain conditions that I'm not meeting to catch them, but they seem to be super rare. Real quick, I have a little bit of time at the end of the day, and I remember there's a book behind the Adventurers Guild called Mapping Cave Systems. Anytime I pass out now, it'll be a little bit cheaper to get my items back. The bookseller's back. This time I decide to get a book called the Combat Codex that permanently increases my attack by 2 points, effectively adding 6 points of damage to every attack I do. And that's because I plan to tackle the Dangerous Skull Cavern today. Again. Remember when I said I wanted to find the parrot egg? There it is, as beautiful as the day it left me. I don't even have a chance to use it though, because apparently this was not the day to try and do this because I'm just making no progress. I'm only at floor 6 by noon, so I head on out of there. Instead, I spend the day giving out some gifts and watching some cutscenes. I'm headed back to the volcano because there's one Slayer goal I haven't met yet, and that's the magma sprites. If I'm able to knock them out, that'll be the first category for perfection that I've completed. It'll take a couple more visits though. While spending the rest of the day just kind of foraging around, I noticed that there's fairy roses growing at the sprite fountain. Fairy roses that, recall, I needed for Sophia's special quest. I'm able to craft them into the fairy dust we need and turn it in for an immediate prize of 35,000 gold, which when you think about it, kinda pays for the price of all of those fairy roses I bought, so fair enough. And pretty much with every new day, I'm going to go to the volcano to see if I can find any magma sprites. It's only random day to day, so I can't grind it out infinitely like I could the mines or the skull cavern. And today we finished it, meaning all of the Monster Slayer goals are done. The next day in the Badlands, Camilla is actually manning the shop, and she has some absolutely insane elixirs. There's one that increases your defense by 255 points for like 10 seconds. And there's a couple of others that allow you to knock back enemies a ton, make you move really fast. So I'm taking notes because these could be really useful for catching fish actually. For today though, I want to try and get back to that cavern that I died outside of last time. I've brought gold quality melons, so no matter how much damage I take, I should get a full heal out of them. I see something different this time though. There is a giant void serpent right outside of the cavern. So here's my strategy. I tank damage from anything that isn't that giant void serpent just to invincibility frame my way in, and it works. Once we're inside, some weird voice tells us we must be the one, but more importantly, treasure! The middle chest though has a prismatic shard-shaped hole. I don't know how well we were able to identify that, but alright. That means we'll have to come back. So next up is a mistake that I am guilty of very often. I didn't bring a farm warp totem, so I have to try and work my way out of here. And unfortunately, on the way out, I die. Caught unawares by a scorpion that spawned right in front of me. So last time, the money I lost was so small that I didn't even notice it, so I didn't think I lose money if I die here. This time, I did notice the money that I lost, because it was around 55,000. And you know, I lost all the treasure chests I just found, so that's good too. Now I know to only enter the Badlands when I have like no money to my name. I need a bit of a cooldown period after that, so I just spend the rest of the day giving out gifts at the community center. To get back in a good spot money-wise, I sell all of the sunflower honey I've been building up over the month. And with that money, I buy back the treasure chests. I can buy them back for half of the value that I can sell them for, so it's still worth it. So that's kind of a recovery, I guess. But unfortunately for all of us, I gotta go back. I gotta see what's in that treasure chest. This time I bring a farm orb totem and the prismatic shard I need to open it. So what could possibly be worth this trip? It's the Galaxy Slingshot. So this is actually an unused item. If you didn't know, the Master Slingshot deals twice the damage as the regular Slingshot, and this Galaxy Slingshot deals double the damage of the Master Slingshot. And I'm gonna figure out a way to show you how overpowered that's gonna be. First though, I check out the key quests and we get the extended family quest, which I love doing, so I grab it. And the next day is dedicated to catching all of the copies of the legendary fish, which turns out to be pretty much no problem. They are nothing compared to some of the other fish I've had to catch in more dangerous areas. And it is helped by the fact that we have the mastery enchantment now, we have that book that raised our fishing level, so we're a lot stronger. And while walking from fish to fish, we see that Sophia made a fairy rose garden out of all the materials we brought her. So I guess I made a little bit of a mistake here. I assumed that the copies of the legendary fish wouldn't be donatable to the aquarium. Turns out they are. I did turn them all into smoked fish and sold them, which may be a lot of money, but I'll have to catch them again sometime in the future. Sophia catches us the next morning saying she wants to pay us back for all the fairy rose stuff we gave her. And now we can buy iridium sprinklers and nozzles from her shop. The nozzles being pretty huge because that's a very rare late game item. Those new 1.6 trees that we grew in our tree farm are done growing now, so we can tap them up. And making all those tappers made me realize I have like no wood, so I'm actually going to the sewers today. I'm gonna reset my foraging professions, because honestly, I don't too much care for the ones I have. We got our third mastery level a while ago, and it's time to cash in. I'm grabbing farming mastery, mostly for the iridium scythe. Harvesting any crops, especially at Ginger Island, is gonna be a cinch now. I have not had enough of the Badlands. There's another area I want to explore here. While looking at the map, I noticed that there's an iridium quarry on the left side. And you know, I just got the Galaxy Slingshot, so whatever's here must be pretty good too. But upon going in, there's these new ghost enemies that just keep on spawning, and I just don't have the damage to deal with them in time. There's iridium nodes all over the place, but I don't have the time to mine them out because I have to keep attacking. I didn't see any special cave or item deeper in, but I won't find out for now because I have to warp out. Overnight, we get to re-choose our foresting professions, and I choose forester and lumberjack, both to get more wood and hardwood from regular trees. There just happens to be a ton of projects that I want to do that require stupid amounts of wood. First of all, I'm filling out our keg shed with even more kegs. Then I make use of that profession deforesting the entirety of Cindersap Forest. And with the hardwood I gained, I can finally repair the stump that fell down all those weeks ago. That night, because of a letter I got asking me to come by, I go to the Adventurers Guild where everyone's here for a meeting. Apparently there's been sightings of dangerous monsters in each of the expanded areas. It's our job to find them, grab their unique item, and turn it into marlin. Overnight, somehow I reached level 4 mastery. I think it's because of the crab pots or something, I'm really not sure. But I'm more focused on that legendary monster quest. The first one I go to look for is a golden slime in the Highlands, mostly because I think it's the safest area out of the 3. And on this trip, while I get tons of treasure like red slime eggs and stuff, I don't find a golden slime. I'm not quite sure if there's something I need to do to activate it spawning or if it's just a random chance or what. But while I'm here, I might as well head to the top of the mountain to see our buddy the dinosaur again with my brand new upgraded Galaxy Slingshot. Yeah, so I'm hitting like 600s and 700s on this guy now, and he dies pretty dang quickly. And we do get another ornate treasure chest for our troubles, so we can infinitely get this. I'm assuming it respawns every day, not that I'm gonna come up here that often. The trip's cut short because I do need to go check out the Spirits Eve festival. I make my way through the maze for a prize ticket this time, and honestly I kind of feel like I'd prefer the golden pumpkin, but whatever. Well, with no luck on the golden slime, I decided to give the swamp a try to look for the purple mushroom swamp crab, which is kind of like a rock crab, but it's a mushroom. And while I'm here, I do a little more fishing to see if there's any fish that I happen to miss here. And I do catch an alligator, so that's another fish added to the list. I didn't have too long to look for the swamp crab though, because my suspicions about the green ghost were confirmed. If it touches you, you die. Just another tick on my long list of successes. Welcome to winter. We won't be here long because we're already on day 197. Getting my crop field set up for winter is a little more complicated than the other months because there's just no simple way to get the seeds. So I do have to go on a foraging run. There are powder melons now added in 1.6, but I still have to forage them up, so I'm only able to plant so many. It is Krobus's birthday, and it turns out he loves the bat flowers we've been finding all over the place from the Baubles mod, so that's what I give him. While foraging, I notice a raccoon is moved into the stump, and the quest needs a smoked bullhead and some mussels. Not my main priority, but if I come across a bullhead, I'll turn it in. And here's how the crop field looks after all our effort. Yeah, this is gonna build up throughout the season. The second day of winter gives us an interesting weather effect. It's a snow-rain mix, and I gotta say, it's really pretty. Checking the special requests board, I get the dreaded island ingredients. Even worse, it's asking for ginger and not taro roots, which is just about completely RNG dependent. But I'll take it because eventually I'll need it for the solar panel recipe. My goal today was to sell just enough of all of that wine we have stored to afford our first warp obelisk, which is quite a bit earlier than I usually start going for them. I figure out of the cheap ones, the most important one to get is the water obelisk since it leads to the beach, and then we can quickly get to the island from there. That's obelisk number 1 out of the way. I had a lot of trouble affording this because every time I go to a shop there's like 10 new recipes for me to grab, so it's been really hard to save up money. Meanwhile, there's only one vanilla fish that I've yet to grab, and that's the dreaded scorpion carp. But funny enough, it doesn't end up being too much of a problem. I've prepared for fish that are much worse than this. After all that work, the fishing log's actually looking pretty good. It's starting to actually feel finishable now. Most of the other fish that are left I'm waiting for different seasons to get, so over the next year I'll try to get them all. I checked the key quests for the week, and the options are Skull Cavern Invasion and Let's Play a Game. Never playing Junimo Kart, if I can help it, so I'm choosing Skull Cavern Invasion. I also wasn't able to complete it last week, so hopefully this week goes a bit better. With the key gems I do have, I'm gonna buy the Junimo chests, which are going to be really big for this playthrough because of the Automate mod. It all hinges on one thing though. If I put it next to my Junimo hut, do the crops automatically move over? They do. So here's the plan. I have this Junimo chest that is grabbing crops that are automatically being harvested. I put the other Junimo chest in Grandpa's shed. And the important part about Grandpa's shed is you can put both casks and kegs in here. So eventually, the plan will be to fill half of the room with casks and half of the room with kegs. So then the fruits automatically get put into kegs to be turned into wine. Then after they're done, they'll automatically be moved over to the casks, which automates the entire process of crops other than planting them. This has always been my endgame plan for Automate, and I'm so glad it works. As for the combat side of things, clearly I need a better plan than what I've had so far. I'm looking at my crafting recipes and there's this marsh tonic here. +1 speed, +10 attack, and most importantly, +5 defense. Defense is going to be huge if I want to last in all of these dangerous areas. Using that, I'm going to make another attempt at finding the swamp crab. Combine that with the fairy box trinket that automatically heals me when I'm in combat. I'm a tank. Not only do I take small amounts of damage, but I'm also automatically healing it off, allowing me to last much longer than I normally would. And it's that strategy that allows me to finally find the legendary swamp crab just sitting there and take it out. And I turn in its giant purple mushroom to Marlin. That's 1/3 of the legendary monster quest completed. That leads us to the final day of the run, and honestly, it's just gonna be chill. Today I'm cleaning out all of the journal quests that we've accumulated over the last 2 years and completing all the ones I can. Most of them are just random items that people have asked for, but I also have bringing the maple syrup to the secret woods, gaining the special berry knowledge, and unlocking a new shop found in the very back of the expanded woods section with some very expensive recipes. At the end of the day, I clear out our journal of all the completed quests, not really for the money, but more so for the satisfaction of having a clean list of things to do for the future. And that's where we end our 200 days. So now that you've watched this video, you can pick back up on day 5 of part 29 of the full expanded series. And with this being the second summary video I've made, I expect the third will be all the way to perfection. I don't think it's gonna be 300 days. It'll probably take a little longer, but we're so close to perfection at this point, I think it'll finish it up. Feels kind of weird because for a while it felt like this series was just gonna go on forever, but the end is in sight. Thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next one, and good night.